so this is Policy and Me. And last week we had such a wonderful conversation with Mr. Anthony Mackenzie, the Director of Environmental Management and Conservation, on the plastic ban. Let's hop right back into it. All right, so I think you probably touched on this before, but just so that we remember, when did the policy take effect and how has it evolved?
So the first phase of the ban took effect on the 1st of January 2020. There was a lot of discussion prior. If you recall, or you might recall, that back in 2016, Minister Samuda in the Senate gave a position paper with respect to single-use plastics and the need for us to manage it as a country, and he had proposals on how to handle it. The whole ban originated out of those discussions, out of the motion that was laid by Minister Samuda. And so we come to 2018 when the legislation was prepared and gazetted, and then 1 year grace period. And so the 20 January 2020 was when the styrofoam or polystyrene containers were banned. And then we're about 2-3 phases since, as I indicated, the plastic straws and the scanner bags, and then this bigger size of scanner bags in 2022. And then come 2025 now, the fourth phase is when we're dealing with the plastic food containers. Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, next question. What's the main goal of the plastic ban?
Single-use plastics. They're useful, but you use them one time. So it generates a lot of waste. Right? And if not managed properly, the waste is discharged inappropriately to the environment. And that is where the problem is. Separate and apart from that, the larger issue is that we're finding that plastics and its breakdown derivatives persists in the environment. They're not easily broken down, and they last long. Right? Separate and apart from that as well, the researchers and scientists are finding negative impacts of these plastics on biodiversity, on the fauna and flora, and its accumulation also in the bodies of mammals, including humans as well.
So we eat these microplastics.
So the research is ongoing, but it's pointing to detrimental impacts.
Wow.
Because it's persistent.
Mm-hmm.
So the international community is in discussion now about phasing out internationally some of these avoidable plastics, they call them. And we are a part of those discussions. And so in terms of the management of plastics waste, the ban is intended to support that waste management effort. And then secondly, to remove it from the waste stream and from the environment because of its persistent nature and its possible impact on biodiversity and human health and so on.
Okay, so who should know about the policy?
Everybody, actually, because we all use plastics, and we all use single-use plastics. So the population of Jamaica should be aware and should know about it. And it's important to know why we're doing this. We're not just doing it because we want to be inconvenient to persons. Some people say that, for example, in terms of the food containers, that the plastic for the alternative, it's not as nice and it can't hold the gravy. Yeah?
And we're not used to it.
We're not used to it, and then the folding thing, right? But it's ultimately to our benefits. And so all of us need to be aware and participate in this initiative because it's to the betterment of all of us. It's about our sustainability, really, as a country and as a people and as the wider international nation.
Right.
So that's why I think the awareness needs to be with everybody because we all use plastics.
Alright. So this is for everybody now, guys. Everybody. So who is most affected by this policy and how?
The major persons who are impacted. I mean, so we perhaps could divide it into the commercial entities and then individuals. So people who are involved in packaging as it relates to the plastic bags, and commercial entities, yeah. So in terms of the food containers, then retail establishments and restaurants. So all the restaurants, I mean, they provide takeout, so they will be impacted. They'd have to find alternatives. The cook shop, the man in the corner who sells food and stuff that you go to buy your reasonable lunch in the days and so on. So they would be impacted and they would have to find alternative. Also, the people who are involved, the companies who are involved in the importation, they're impacted because they are going to have to identify other suppliers and find those suppliers and bring them in. And of course, us in general, because we are the consumers, so we'll be impacted, so we have to use the alternatives. So, but I mean, there's a positive impact, and there's a positive impact on the environment because we're having less of these plastics entering into our gullies, entering into the waste stream, entering into the marine environment, impacting our beaches, impacting our wildlife, and so on.
Right.
So, with the ban, there are significant positive impacts.
So our last question is, why is this policy important for Jamaica and our environment?
16% of the solid waste that we generate as a country is plastics. And a large percentage of that 16% is single-use plastic. Right? And so it has to be managed. It's waste, so it has to be managed. It has to be disposed of. It has to be, I mean, we have efforts now to recycle and reuse and so on. But in terms of waste management, it's always important to produce a minimum of waste as possible. And that's the idea that we want to generate. Waste that can be biodegradable, combustible, and so on, and not waste that persists. And so that's the reason for the ban, to assist in our management efforts as it relates to waste in general as a country, so that we can support our efforts at greening the country, at the whole matter of sustainability, the question of being a circular economy that's coming to the question we'll talk about, waste and how we manage it, and of course pointing to the single-use ban. So there are benefits, a multitude of benefits when we move towards phasing out single-use plastics.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mackenzie, for sharing your insights on the plastic ban.
Pleasure having you.
Trust me, it was a lot of important information, and I know for us as Jamaicans, we may need to get that reinforcement of knowledge so that we can know what to do and what not to do. So thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
So we have a little surprise for you.
What?
You know, on Policy and Me, we have a lot of surprises. And we have a game that we want to play with you. It's called Cool or Fool. So now we're going to show you some images, and based on what you see, you're going to tell us whether you think it's cool or good for the environment, or foolish, meaning it's bad for the environment. Alright? So this is the first image. What do you think is being depicted here?
That's cool. That's very good. That's excellent for the environment. Plant a tree. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
When I'm correct.
Alright.
So that's actually generate a forest. Yes.
Alright, so that's cool. Awesome. Now what is this?
That's probably half and half. They could walk.
That's good.
Walking can be beneficial. They could be riding a bicycle as well.
Okay, so you have to put away the car and walk. Alright.
All right, a bike.
Wait.
And then, of course, the other things, I mean, it can be electric vehicle, so it is better.
Okay,
So-
and I
so-
think they're carpooling as well because
And
these
absolutely,
people.
right.
Yeah.
So they're positive and negatives.
All right, that's a good perspective. Did not think of that one. And this one right here.
Oh, this is bad. Burning, and then burning of plastics, you generate a lot of harmful chemicals with that, and say impact the air quality and impact humans. So that's a negative, I think.
Okay, all right. So this one, I think this one is gonna be a little hard for him. What do you think?
No, this is good. This is good. When you plug into things, power. I mean, and especially if we get in the source of the power is alternative energy, like solar, wind, and so on.
Okay,
But
but do you think that we should keep appliances plugged in, especially if they're not in use? So you think about that?
yeah, I think we should, in terms of conservation,
We should unplug.
or close the switch. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a positive thing. So the good thing about it is that it's a switch that you can turn on and off. So when it's not in use, you switch it.
Yeah,
Switch
but if
on.
you don't have that, you unplug if they're not using the appliance. All right. So I think this is our last one. Is it cool or cool?
So this is all cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
Why?
It's using solar. It's using solar energy, generating solar energy, I should say.
Huh?
And that's that doesn't generate waste in a large extent or emit emissions or so on. So it's green energy. So I think that's cool.
Okay. And with that, we want to encourage you to always utilize these cool methods. Start with the foolish methods, and let's all care for our environment. Thank you for joining us today. The plastic ban is just one step closer to a cleaner, greener Jamaica. If you want to know more, you can visit our website at megjc.gov.jm, and be sure to follow us on all our social media pages at megjc_jm. And of course, visit NEPA's page if you want to know more about the plastic ban or more about the environment. You can go to NEPA Jamaica on all their social media platforms. This has been Policy and Me. Bye.